Hey there, and welcome to a new video. This is going to be the fourth video in the series Data Analyst SQL Challenge. We will be solving the SQL screening interview questions for data analyst. So, in this series, we will have a single table, but based on the single table, we will be solving multiple questions. So here also we will create a table. Then based on the table, we will insert some data. And on that particular table, you will be given multiple questions. There won't be any expected output given, but instead we will have to go through the question, understand the question, and we will have to imagine how the output will look like and then create or write query to obtain the output in the corresponding manner. So first we will create the table. So for that, we will first create a database because I have created a lot of tables. So not to repeat the table names again, I will create a database once again. Create database will be db questions. So this will be the database name. Now let us create this. Execute, and a database has been created. Now we will use this database, that is use db underscore questions. Now this is the database that we are going to use, and onto this database we will be creating the new table. Execute, and now we are using this particular database which we have created, which is the db underscore questions. Now let us go and create the table, which is the student grade table. So based on this table only we'll be writing the queries. So this is the student grade table, which has got student id, which is an integer and which should not contain any null values. There is the student name, which is a variable character which can go up to 255 characters and should not be null. Then there is a third column, which is the subject, which is also a variable character which can go up to length 255 characters and which should not be null. And then there is another column, which is the grade, which is an integer and should not be null. And then there is exam date, which is a date and should not be null. And we are also creating a composite primary key to ensure each grade record is unique. So the composite primary key will be student id plus subject plus exam date will be the primary key for this particular table. That is, when three of the columns we consider together, it can be considered as a primary key for this particular table. Execute this and we will create the particular table, which is the student grade. Execute, and we have successfully created the table student grade. Now into this table we will insert some data. So here is the data that we are going to insert into the particular student grade table. Execute, and now we can see that 7 rows are affected, hence student grade table has been inserted with the 7 rows of data. Now let us query the table and see what the table contains. Select star from the table student grade. So this is the table name, paste it here. Now execute this query and we will get a table which we have created. So this is the table that we have created, which is the student id, student name, subject, grade, and exam date are the different columns that are available within the student grade table which we have created. Now based on this table, now we have to write certain query to obtain output in the required manner. So there won't be any expected output given. The only thing will be we will be given certain questions, and now based on this table, sometimes even data won't be given, only schema will be given. Then we have to write query to obtain output in such a manner that we are getting the right output. So these are the 5 questions we are going to write onto this table and get the required output. So the first question is, find the name of all students who have a grade of 90 or higher in either maths or science. That is the first question. And in the first question, we will be seeing the concept of filtering. All the 5 questions are dealing with different concept, and this will help the person test your knowledge of different concepts in SQL along with logic building. So hence, we will also be seeing different concepts in all the 5 questions. So the first question is testing your knowledge of filtering in SQL. Now the second question will be, for each student, calculate their average grade across all subject. Now here we are going to make use of some aggregate function. and we have to find the average grade across all subject for a particular student. So here we are testing the knowledge of aggregate function along with group by clause. Now the third question will be find all subject where average grade is above 80. Now here we are going to again make use of the concept of aggregation along with the concept of filtering for an aggregated result. So that is the concept that we are going to see in the third question. Now the fourth question will be we have to write a report that lists each student, their grade in each subject, and a new column pass status. So we have to create a new column which is the pass status. And for the pass status, there are certain condition given. That is, the pass status should be pass if the grade is 70 or higher. And if there are any other cases that is less than 70, we have to mark the column as need to improve. So that is the specific condition that we have to consider when creating the pass status column. And the final question will be find the highest grade achieved by a student in each subject. If there are ties for highest grade, list all students who achieved that particular grade. This question we can solve using different method. Here we will make use of the concept of window function and see how we can solve the question using window function. So first we will go through the question, that is find the name of all students who have a grade of 90 or higher in either maths or science. So we will start writing query for the same. So we will start with a select plus select star from the table is student grade. Now we have to make use of the where clause, that is where the grade column, that is grade 90 or higher, that is greater than or equal to 90. And the second condition will be the subject should be either maths or science. So here we are going to make use of the in condition in SQL or in clause in SQL, that is subject in open and close parenthesis, and within the parenthesis we will specify the first subject will be math and second subject will be science. Now execute and we will get result only for which the grade is greater than or equal to, that is 90 or higher, and subject is either math or science. Execute and we will get only result for that particular condition. So here we have the result for that particular condition we have specified. But in the question it is given that we have to only find the name of students. So we don't require subject, grade, exam date or anything. Only thing we require will be student name. So here we will write a distinct, and since the student name can repeat, we will also make use of the column student id, that is student underscore id comma student underscore name. Now execute this query and we will get the required output. So these are the student who have a grade of 90 or higher in either math or science. So this is the result that we were looking to obtain for the first question. So we have the result for first question. Now moving on to the second question. For each student, calculate their average grade across all subject. So here also we will make use of the same table, that is student grade table. Execute this and then let us see what are the columns that we are going to use in order to get the result. So for each student, we have to calculate their average grade across all subject. So we have to make use of the column student ID. Student ID we are making use only to be safe because student name can repeat, but student ID cannot repeat. Hence, in order to make the result very precise, we are going to make use of the student ID column. Otherwise, we should have only used student name. But to be safe, we will be using student ID column as well. So based on each student ID and student name, we have to calculate the average grade across all subject. That is the average mark that is scored by a particular student across all subject we have to find in this question. So for that, we are going to make use of three column, that is student ID, student name and grade. So here it will be student underscore ID, comma, student underscore name, comma. Now we are going to make use of the aggregate function, that is average of open and close parenthesis. Now make use of the column that is grade as average grade. average underscore grade. Now this is taken from the table student grade. Now we have to make use of the concept of group by. That is, here we are going to write the group by clause. Group by the same column which we have used in the select clause, that is student id and student name. Paste it here. Now execute and we should be getting the result. So we have student id, student name, and this is the average grade obtained by a particular student when looking at the entire table. So here it will be corresponding to student ID 101, that is Alice. That student's average grade will be 88. Similarly, we are obtaining the average grade for every student in the table. So this is the second question, and we saw the concept of aggregation along with group by in the second question. Now coming to the third question, find all subjects where average grade is above 80. Now we will make use of the same table, that is select star from the table student underscore grades, execute, and then let us see what are the columns that we have to use in order to get the output. So find all subject where average grade is above 80. So we have to make use of the subject column and grade column in order to get the output. So here it will be the first column, that is subject. Second expression will be based on the aggregate function average of open and close parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis we have to specify the grade column, and this will be average underscore grade. Now we have to write a group by clause based on the subject column, that is group by. Now execute and let us see what is the result we are getting. Execute, and we have a result where we have subject average grade for each subject for the entire class, or when considering the entire students within that particular group. Now we have to find all subject where average grade is above 80. So here we have to filter this result that we have already obtained. So we will make use of the having clause here. So what happened here is, after group by we will write a having clause, that is having average grade should be greater than 80. Now execute and we should be getting the result where average grade is greater than 80. Execute, and we have only subject where the average grade for that particular subject is greater than 80. So this is the result that we have to obtain, and in the final result it is not necessary that we have to obtain the average grade, but instead the question is asking only to find the subject. So even finding the subject name should be sufficient, but to be safe and for the better understanding we will be displaying the average grade as well. So here we can see all the average grade for the particular subject is greater than 80. Now moving on to the fourth question. Here we have to create a report that lists each student, their grade in each subject, and a new column pass status. And now there is a condition given, that is the pass status should be pass if the grade is 70 or higher, and if otherwise we have to mark the column as need to improve. So that is the condition. So here we will see the concept of case statement in SQL. So here also we are going to make use of the table, that is student underscore grades. Now let us see what are the columns that we have to use in order to get the output. Execute. This is the table we are having. Now in the report we have to list the student, that is student name and student ID, their grade in each subject, that is grade, and then a new column pass status. So here we require student ID, student underscore ID, student underscore name, comma, we will display the subject as well. Subject, comma, grade. Now we have to make use of the case statement and SQL, and using the grade column we have to display either a student has passed for that particular subject or if the student need to improve. So here it will be case when grade greater than or equal to 70, then the value should be pass, and now write a else condition, else we have to show need to improve. So after this, end the case statement, and the column will be named as pass status, pass underscore status. Execute this, and we should be getting the new column pass status based on the condition. Execute, and we have a new column created along with the input column that we were having, that is student id, student name, subject, and grade. Now based on the grade column, we can see a new column is created, that is the pass status column, on which we can see either the student has passed for that particular subject, or if the student need to improve for that particular subject. So here, for all the values where grade is greater than or equal to 70, we can see it is pass. And in only one case where the grade is less than 70, we can see here the status has been marked as need to improve. So here we saw the concept of case statement in SQL. So this is the fourth question. Now moving on to the fifth question, we have to find the highest grade achieved by a student in each subject. If there are ties for highest grade, list all students who achieved that grade. So for a particular subject, we have to find what is the highest mark scored for that particular subject along with student name. So here, let me query the table once again. That is select star from student underscore grades. Now we will see what are the columns that we have to use in order to get the output. So here we will make use of the student ID column, student name column, subject column, and grade. And we will use a window function and find the required output. So the first thing is we will specify the column names. First column will be student underscore ID. Second column will be student underscore name. Third column will be subject. Fourth column will be grade. Now we are going to make use of a window function to find the highest mark scored for a particular subject when considering the entire table. So we will make use of the max aggregate function as a window function here. So here max of open and close parenthesis, and within the parenthesis we will write grade. Now we have to write the over close, over open and close parenthesis. Now write the partition, that is partition by subject. Now we don't have to write a order by clause because the only thing we are going to find here is maximum grade for a particular subject as highest mark, highest grade. Now execute, and we will get a new column, that is the highest grade for a particular subject. Execute, and now we can see that we got a new column, that is the highest grade for a particular subject. So when considering the two column, that is first two, sorry, when considering the first two rows corresponding to student id 102 and 103, we can see that these are same subject, that is subject history, subject history. And we can see that when comparing the two grade, the first grade is 65 and second grade is 88, but in the new column that we have created, we got the highest grade for that particular subject, that is 88. Similarly, corresponding to the third, fourth, and fifth row, we can see all the subject are math, but the grades are different. The first row for that particular subject is having 90 as the grade, second row is having 78, and third row is having 85. But when we look at the highest grade column, we can see that in all the three rows, the highest grade is displayed, that is 90. So this is what we have obtained for all the subject across the table. Now what we can do here is we will place this query within a CTA, that is with T1 as open and close parenthesis. Now write a select close, select star from T1, write a where close, that is where grade should be equal to grade should be equal to highest grade. Now execute, and we will get only rows where that particular condition is satisfied. Then we can see which student has got the maximum mark for a particular subject. Execute, and we can see that Charlie has got maximum mark for history and the grade is 88. Corresponding to math, Diana has got maximum mark, that is 90. And corresponding to science, another student Charlie has got maximum mark, that is 95. So this is how we can obtain maximum mark obtained by students for a particular subject and corresponding student name. And even if in this table there were multiple students who were scoring same mark, this query will be getting us the right result without any problem. So this is a very scalable query. So this is the solution for fifth question. Now We have completed all the 5 questions. Let us go back and see which are the concepts we went through all the 5 questions. So in the first question, we came across the concept of distinct. Then also we came across the concept of filtering in SQL. We saw how to filter numerical records, also how to filter text records. And we saw how to make use of the greater than or equal to operator and also in operator in SQL. That is the first question and corresponding concepts. Now coming to the second question, we can see we made use of the concept of average or aggregate function in SQL along with group by clause. And coming to the third question, we saw the concept of aggregate function, how to make use of aggregate function to get a result, and then make use of the having clause in order to filter the aggregated result. So that is the concept that we saw in the third question. Now going to the fourth question, we saw the concept of case statement in SQL and how to create a new column based on case statement and given condition. That is the concept that we saw in the fourth question. Now coming to the fifth question, we saw the concept of window function and how to make use of an aggregate function as a window function. Also we saw in this question. Also we saw the concept of CTE. So how to write a CTE and then based on that CTE how to get the result and filter the result, that also we saw in the fifth question. So when we look at all the 5 questions, we can see we went through multiple concepts in SQL, and this is a very good question to test the knowledge in SQL, also to test the logic building skill in SQL. So try solving this question. The DDL and DML to create the table will be available in the description. If you like this video, check out our channel for more advanced content in SQL and also similar questions. Hope you like this video. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more. Thank you.